So it's very reciprocal in terms of the agency and in terms of the private sector. Now, look, let's talk about humans in space and the future there, because people can't do it alone. So talk to me about technology and how innovative Europe is when it comes to artificial intelligence, for example.
Yeah, so still I hope to find more natural intelligence, but there is some hope. But artificial intelligence is, of course, a very important thing to be supportive for humans in space. Now, some people say, maybe in future we don't need humans in space, we have artificial intelligence. But think about, can you measure the blood pressure of a robot or the immune system of a robot? You can't. So therefore, humans will play also this role in space, being part of tests and experiments. But also, humans in space are really something like ambassadors. If you see a picture from an astronaut from space and with his emotions in this picture, this is even more than just a picture of a robotic system. So therefore, I believe we will have humans in space also in the future. This is in our DNA to go to really go beyond our borders. It was when we left the caves, when we crossed the Atlantic Ocean, and now it's also to go into space. So it's in our DNA, and therefore it's important. But humans in space need technology, and this technology we are developing over there can be used on Earth again. So for instance, the life support system at the International Space Station, where they drink today the coffee of the day before. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Purification of water. So you drink the coffee, you have to go to the toilet and to drink it again. So this purification of water is something we can now use also on Earth because it's very good. And also the cleaning of the air. We are talking right now about COVID-19 and all of this. But cleaning of air also is in the International Space Station a major task, and therefore reducing the CO2, etc., blah, blah, all of this. So therefore the technology we are using to go into outer space has some value also on Earth.
You talk about that humans going to be back in space because it's in our DNA. We want to go beyond our borders. It's going to happen again. I mean, what time frame are we talking to make this more than just a big event where they're an ambassador that everyone talks about for decades?
Yeah, so we are in the International Space Station since 20 years. That's already outer space. It's away from the Earth. To the moon we will go on a Monday, and to Mars on a Tuesday. Now, what I want to say with that is we don't know exactly. I hope that within this decade we can also have Europeans on the surface of moon. But to go to Mars is really a different story. You see, you are too young, but there was the event of Apollo 13. Apollo 13 had a couple of days after the launch, they had a big problem. The famous call was, Houston, we have had a problem. And there was some explosion in a tank, and therefore they had to return as quickly as possible. Now, if you go to the moon, it takes only a couple of days and you are back, because the moon is very close. You go around the moon and you come back. Now, if you're on the way to Mars, you cannot turn just and come back. You have to go to Mars and back if in case of a problem. And this means something like 2 years. So can you imagine with a disease or with some technical problems, really to go for 2 years without any possibility to come back? So therefore we need better technologies, and we have to think about whether we have also some technology to return on the way and to go back.
So where are we in terms of artificial intelligence, in terms of innovation? I know there's quite a bit of asteroid mining that's been going on, trillions of dollars worth a project there.
We have artificial intelligence already on board of the International Space Station. For the interaction with the astronaut, we have a tiny robot which has artificial intelligence, and by that is communicating with the astronauts and helping the astronauts to perform their tasks. So we are there. We have also a tiny artificial intelligence satellite around the Earth, which is doing Earth observation and which is looking whether there is a cloud or not, and only taking pictures when there is no cloud. So these are first and simple approaches to artificial intelligence, and there will be much more in the future, and I'm looking forward to that.
You mentioned COVID-19. We can't have this conversation without touching on it. I mean, what has the impact of the pandemic been on the sector in general, in ESA projects in particular? I mean, how are you adapting?
At least we have a safe place for COVID-19. This is the International Space Station. There is no COVID-19 on the International Space Station. But we were using our experience for helping people in the corona crisis. For instance, astronauts are isolated on the station, and they could teach people how to go ahead with quarantine. So we used that one. We also used our labs to support people for testing, etc. And also 3D printing for having some personal protection instruments. So we really use space also to help people. And we could follow also the pandemic on Earth by Earth observation because of the reduction of NOx, etc. From industry. So we are really in this pandemic active, but also our industry is still working. And for space, I can say so far, so good.
Well, Jan, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. So many more questions, but of course the clock is ticking. It's a crucial moment in time for space agencies with lots of challenges, and it's been great talking to you about the future and the next big steps for European aerospace. Thank you very much, the Director General of the European Space Agency. Now it's back to the studio in Lisbon.
Thank you.